It's been a month since Miss Universe 2023, and the Miss Universe organization is missing out on a huge opportunity. Let's start with Shaynnis Palacios, the winner of Miss Universe 2023 and former Miss Nicaragua. Take a listen. I found this article earlier today, and there's just a few points that I would like to point out. Here's the title: Nicaragua's government clamps down on this year's Miss Universe pageant winner. Nicaragua's authoritarian government has a new target for possible exile: the winner of the Miss Universe pageant, after learning she had participated in protests as a college student in 2018. On stage, 23-year-old Shaynnis Palacios got her crown. She cried, she waved, she disappeared into the arms of her fellow beauty pageants. And in Nicaragua, something happened that had not happened before. And they have a couple of people here that are talking about the protests that happened in 2018. But here's the interviewer again. That's Luis, Roberto, and Rosa, three young Nicaraguans who took to the streets that day. They asked we only use their first names because since 2018, the government has punished any critical speech. It has been that way in Nicaragua since the government cracked down on huge anti-government demonstrations. Police killed hundreds of protesters. And the government of President Daniel Ortega, who has been in power off and on for nearly 30 years, jailed or exiled nearly all his critics. Everyone from singers to poets to a prominent Catholic bishop. But that day, when Shaynnis Palacios became the first Central American to win Miss Universe, Nicaragua felt differently. It felt different, says Rosa. Rosa says, we felt freedom. You could carry your flag. You could scream for joy. Even the government issued a statement congratulating Palacios, but that didn't last. Quickly, the government learned that Palacios had joined the protests as a college student in 2018, and Vice President Rosario Murillo switched tacks. Maybe that should be tactics. We see this as a brute attempt, she says, an evil terrorist plot, talking about the Miss Universe pageant, to turn something beautiful into a destructive coup. The director of Miss Universe Nicaragua was denied entry into her own country and then charged with sedition for, quote, trying to turn beauty pageants into a political ambushes and using them to, quote, incite hate, violence, and organized crime. This week, the director resigned. Elvira Quadra has studied the Nicaraguan security apparatus for years. There's a rationale behind this, she says, because President Daniel Ortega, who is 78, is planning for succession. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. As far as the celebrations, they ended as quickly as they started, Rosa says. At the time, it felt like something was about to change in Nicaragua. In the least, she says, she thought Shaynnis Palacios would come back home to victorious, adoring masses. We now know it'll be the first and last time we'll celebrate as long as this government is in power. Now, she says, it's not even clear that Miss Universe will even be allowed to enter her own country. As you can see, we literally have a tale of two queens. We have Shaynnis Palacios, Miss Universe 2023, who is literally unable to go home because the government is using that to have all these allegations against her. As you already know, the national director for Miss Universe Nicaragua, she has resigned. She has been charged with sedition. I have to be honest, I did not know that. I knew it was an authoritarian government, but I did not know the lengths that they would go to rally these accusations against these organization members. And so when I say, before I get there, and as you can see, Michelle D, her homecoming is literally a flurry of activity. If you saw the video where she came home, everybody was just welcoming her home. There are various other organizations. She has been bestowed titles. Various organizations are asking her to come and speak. And right now, literally, they are celebrating. Now, mind you, Michelle D made the top 10, not the top 5, not the top 3. And she certainly wasn't the winner. Doesn't matter how we feel about that, it is what it is. So when I say that the Miss Universe organization is not capitalizing on that, we have these two queens, and literally they are in opposite positions. The winner can't go home, and then we have Michelle D, who did not win. She got a bunch of awards. And the Miss Universe organization, I have not been able to see anything where they have really come out with a stance. Let me tell you something. When we begin, if this organization is for women, by women, or whatever the title is, why isn't the Miss Universe organization saying, hey, we stand behind our candidate, we stand behind our winner, we stand behind Shaynnis Palacios. If we want to talk about women's empowerment, the Miss Universe organization is not capitalizing on that. If you tell me that you really care how women think and all of this kind of stuff, then why aren't we standing behind Shaynnis Palacios? Why isn't the organization making videos that are something that say, hey, this is our winner, we stand behind her 100%? What are we waiting for? If you want to talk about women's empowerment, then you need to put it into action. Because at this point, I see nothing. All I see is the owner. What? Going into bankruptcy? Getting blocking Philippines from reaching you on Facebook or whatever? That is not women's empowerment. That is something very personal to you. We need this to be shown to women that say, hey, we have a woman, we have a strong young woman. She's smart, she's beautiful, intelligent. She's standing for what she believes, but yet we hear nothing. That is my whole point. Then on the flip side of that, we have another way to show women's empowerment, that even though you may not win, the country stands behind you. And I'm talking about Michelle D. If you look at the way that she's been treated, if you look at the way the country is really rallying behind her, you will see that that doesn't matter if we agree that she should have won or not. All the Filipino people are saying is, this is our queen. She's smart. She's intelligent. She represented us well, and we want to show our appreciation to her. Again, the Miss Universe organization is simply not capitalizing on what's already there. If you're going into bankruptcy, why are you not taking the time to showcase two opposite stories, but both just as powerful? It does not make sense to me. It does not make good sense financially. If you file for bankruptcy, you've got these two stories going on that show women's empowerment. If you are by women, for women, then show women. This does not make any sense to me. So, and I don't want to be all mad and get all emotional and stuff. And I'm not emotional. This comes from a business standpoint. Because, again, let me go back, and it's all about women's empowerment, just showing what women can do. We have Shaynnis Palacios who stood up for herself. And in 2018, she stood up against the government or whatever. The government is against her right now. What a great way to show that. What a great way to show that even though she stood up against the government, she may not have, quote unquote, I don't even think there's a winner in this case, but she did what she believed in at the time. And now the government is coming after her all of these years later, because she won a beauty pageant. Now, we can talk about the importance of beauty pageants here in America. The participation, the strength of beauty pageants is not as strong. But when you go to a place like Venezuela, and Miss Universe plays a huge role, look at how the Miss Universe pageant is playing a role in governmental activities. Look at what is happening right now in the Philippines. She's getting the government officials, they're congratulating her. They want her to come and speak. She's all over the news and social media. We have two powerful stories, and the Miss Universe organization is not showcasing women's empowerment. Both stories are about women's empowerment. I love both stories. What is Miss Universe doing to showcase those stories? This is Isaac.